What's up guys, welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about, as you guys know, classic bodybuilding. And today is a back and tricep workout. So the day before this I did purely chest, really focusing on the chest. And today will be a back and tricep workout. I have decided to only work out the biceps once every other week. So for example, on week 1 I train biceps, week 2 I don't, week 3 I train biceps, etc. However, the triceps will get their own separate day and attached to a workout like a chest day or a back day. In this case it was the back day. Anyway, that'll actually enhance the proportions of my arm, because the biceps are proportionately bigger than the triceps in my case, which shouldn't be the case because I want bigger and better triceps. So you got to make choices in when and how often to train a certain muscle group that you want to improve. Anyway guys, the first exercise of this back workout is the lat pull down behind the neck. I need to work mostly on back thickness, but without sacrificing any work on the width. So as you can literally see that my elbows are pulling backwards. So it's kind of like a pull down, you know, pretty much a rowing pull down, as you're at the very bottom rowing, making a rowing movement with your elbows. Of course it's not a row, it's a pull down, but I'm just trying to say that when I'm doing these lat pull downs in front of the body, it's different, because now you're really focusing on the width. You can really see the lats spreading out, really focusing on the width of the back, the V shape. But with the lat pull down behind the neck, you're really trying to focus on contracting the traps, contracting the middle back, and the only way to truly do that efficiently is by pulling backwards. So you're pulling down and backwards at the same time with the lat pull down behind the neck. That's why I'm doing that exercise. And then after that, because I want to focus primarily on the thickness first, I then tire out the width exercise by doing the lat pull down behind the face, or I mean in front of the face, in front of the body. This is actually the way that Ronnie Coleman used to do a lot of his back exercises. This is kind of inspired from him, because of course he had pretty much the best back in the history of bodybuilding, and you cannot get a back like that without training properly, at least in some sense. So the exercises that he did, I tried to emulate sometimes back in the day, and this variation I truly did like, so I kept it in for years. Haven't done them for a while, so now I'm doing them again. So the lat pull down behind the neck and in front of the body, combine those two and you already feel an incredible pump in the lats. Just try it out. And then this one is the bent over row. I'm standing on a little plateau to enhance the range of motion, and you can also see that the weight I'm using is pretty low. And the reason for that is because I don't want to risk any injury of the lower back, and at the same time you cannot do much more weight than this. Trust me. If you do it in this way, really stretching the lats to the very max at the bottom, and you're gonna need a belt for this even with a low weight like this. I only added 5 kilograms in total to the starting weight, and it already is very, it feels very fatiguing. And this is actually the way that Arnold used to do this exercise. And you can see this clip right here of him doing a full range of motion bent over row. And I don't like to call it a barbell row, because then there's a difference in my opinion between the barbell row and the bent over row. Because the barbell row you kind of do it the regular way, you can actually hit a lot more weight. But this is more of a detail slash trying to overcome your genetics exercise. Arnold did this to actually make his lats insert even lower. Of course that is not possible, but it is possible to target the muscles that are the weakest for me, and that is the lower back thickness and the very lower lats where they attach. I want that area to simply grow in mass so they actually appear to attach lower, because that is what I need in the back. So try out that form of bent over row, and trust me, you will feel an incredible stretch from the lats, and then pulling it down, putting it upwards to your belly button, because otherwise you will use too much biceps if you pull it towards your chest, for example. So pull it towards your belly button, feel the contraction in the lower back, and then fully stretch out again. And then this pull down exercise is amazing, and to me this really is a combination of a pull down and a row, because you really can see that I'm trying to hold my elbows, keeping my elbows very close to the body, and the closer you can keep the elbows to the body, the better you're able to contract the back, the lower back, the middle back. It's all about keeping that contraction in check at the very bottom, because without that contraction you will not send an impulse to your brain to make that part of the muscle grow. The full range of motion here is very important. It always is when training the back. It's such a big muscle group, such a huge area to grow, that the larger the range of motion is, the better results you will simply have. So go all the way up, feel the stretch in your lats. You really gotta feel it in your lats. And when going downwards, you can feel it in your lower back and your middle back when you contract it at your very best. And then of course, I rarely end a back workout without doing some kind of pullover. And of course the very best pullover exercise is the dumbbell pullover. And trust me, if you try this one and do it correctly at the end of a back workout, you will feel it dramatically. And I purposely try to show you an angle that shows how the back is working when doing this exercise, because this is the only isolation movement for the back that you can really do that targets the upper back and the serratus muscle, connecting the back to the rib cage on the front of your body, really enhancing the back thickness on the front as well. This is an excellent back width exercise and a thickness exercise at the same time, which is why I love doing it. So what you want to aim for is really feel a deep stretch at the very bottom, and when you're going upwards, there is one point in the range of motion where the tension stops, and that's where you want to go down right away again. Because what you want is the time of the tension to be increased, so you don't want to lose the tension when you're in the range of motion still. Let's die. Let's die indeed, because if you do this exercise correctly, you will feel an incredible weight, you will feel an incredible difficulty performing this exercise, because remember, this is not the first exercise we're doing, it's the last one before moving on to another muscle group. So you want to tire out the back to the max. So I only do 3 sets of this instead of the usual 4 sets, because I started with a quite heavy weight, 40 kilos, then 45 kilos, and then end with 50 kilograms, trying to hit those 15 magical reps, going all the way down and all the way up until you feel the tension go away. So a full range of motion with a full time under tension. And then, after having worked the back to the max, getting a nice pump in there, finishing it off with the dumbbell pullover, it's time for some tricep work. And this superset I really like. This is the close grip press, targeting the medial head of the triceps, tiring them out first, and then moving on to a skull crusher, actually targeting the medial and the long head of the triceps at the same time, which is actually what I want to work on in the triceps, because most of the triceps is comprised of the long head, but also the medial head will enhance the thickness of the entire triceps as well. And here you can see the tricep actually working, and here you can kind of see that the medial head is working its way. It's kind of like in between the small and the long head, kind of beneath them as well, pushing them outwards. But here you can really see the long head working, which is on the inside of the arm. You can see the constant tension there, and that is what you want to feel. If you feel a loss of tension at the top, you gotta change the way you're performing this exercise. And for people who cannot perform this exercise because of tendonitis or any elbow pains, you should try to do this with a rope. And then you kind of gotta do a rope push down first, and then turn around using the same rope and do overhead tricep extensions with the rope. And you shouldn't feel as much elbow pain compared to this one. However, I don't feel any elbow pain, so I'm easily able to do this. But still, it's an amazing exercise to do for targeting the entire triceps, especially the medial and the long head, which is one of my weak points which I want to improve. And I'm trying to stay in decent shape because in a couple of months the next contest will arrive in March, the Arnold Classic Ohio. But, you know, before my actual preparation begins, it's gonna take about 1 more month. And when that starts, I'm in a lean position already, so that's a much easier way to prep to a show compared to losing fat first and then trying to remain full for the show, because I'm already in decent shape. I only have to lose a little bit of fat and water, and then slowly improve my conditioning while growing into the show, keeping those striations intact. But that was the V-bar pushdown, and the V-bar pushdown is really good for targeting the small head and the medial head, because it's kind of like a press and a pushdown combined, which is why I love this. And then of course ending the triceps with a unilateral exercise, the underhand unilateral pushdown. And this is also great for the long head, basically for every head of the triceps to really finish them off. And by the way, the entire set that I'm wearing, the tank top with the dropped armholes, which I really find comfortable doing, especially back in, because you can then really see the lats popping out instead of wearing a regular tank top, and it just feels nice to work out in general. And the joggers are both available on vintagegenetics.com. And the unilateral pushdown, as I'm doing it right here, really ensures that if you have weak points in one arm or the other, that you can fix them by starting out with a weak arm first.
Look at this, guys. This is the post-workout meal. We've got 100 grams of fusilini, red lentil fusilini, 20 grams of protein per 100 grams. That's some smoked salmon right here, good for the sodium repletion right after the training. And we've got some broccoli right here, about 200 grams, some mushrooms, and yeah, just some nice 2B Slim chili sauce to mix it up even more. Delicious post-workout meal on a low day. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. A lot more is coming. I'm mostly going to do nutrition videos as well, and a Q&A is coming up as well. So if you have any more questions for me to answer, put them down below and I'll add them to the Q&A list. I want to thank you for watching, and don't forget to stay golden.